So Audrey, would you like to tell me about the session that you had with Charmian?
Sure. It was unlike other journeys or hypnotherapies I'd done before in that Charmian gently guided me to visit myself, my higher self, in a couple different layers. So I was actually answering my own questions about myself, and so that was very revealing.
Do you mean about questions about who you are as a being, as a soul? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So how did that feel for you when you connected to your higher self?
I was rather surprised, actually, how powerful she was, and or empowered is probably a better word. How clear and strong she was in her knowing, and a lot of qualities that I aspire to in this lifetime, I saw her in fullness. And the other deeper I am being that she led me to was much more colors, energy, much more of a sensory experience, but it was sublimely peaceful, and I'm not so much a vision type person, but that was very palpable for me.
So you connected to your higher self and to your I am presence?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so did you come with some issues that you were wanting to have clarity or resolution about?
Yeah, I was in a transition. I was in a relationship transition, and I was having some physical issues as well. So I was able to get some clarity on what was the purpose in that interaction, and that I was on the right course of action. And what's interesting is that it was my own guidance within my own higher self that was answering that for me.
And so what about your physical issues? Were you able to get some information that helped with that?
That it wasn't actually an infection, and that did prove to be true in the testing later, that it was more emotional grief going on.
So that helped you to maybe release the physical conditions,
I believe
do you
so.
think?
Yeah, it definitely helped the healing.
So how did you find the session with Charmian to be different from other sessions that you'd had?
I've had things like EMDR, past life regression, and multi-dimensional clearing, and those always seem to go straight for some kind of traumatic past life experience. And interestingly, by the time that I found Charmian, I was really looking to not be identified with those types of lifetimes anymore, so it was a good timing. I just didn't know it was possible.
So in Charmian's sessions, she goes to the higher self first and the wholeness, and then she works on the wounded parts. Did you find that process helpful for you?
Yes, very much so, because those issues, looking from that perspective, have a much different context. And also, it's removed of fear and woundedness when you're looking at them. So when you're looking at them from the whole, it's you can also see the purpose a little bit more in why that's playing out, and not feel powerless in the situation.
So what would you say to other people who might be thinking of having a session for themselves?
Well, if your intuition is pointing you that way and you feel it's the right time, definitely go for it. I mean, it's I have it recorded on my phone, so it's kind of like a reset point I can go to at any time if I want to experience myself in that connection again. So yeah, it's a very unusual modality.
I think you had a few sessions. Were they different?
I went to Charmian later to address like emotional behavior layers that I wanted to heal and figure out why I was so stuck in them. And again, with her assistance, led myself to a journey to find those situations that had not yet been released. And then we did that together, and a lot of physical, emotional release. And then I found myself at a different place in that issue after.
And that was to do with childhood issues from this lifetime, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it helped to resolve some trauma, or?
Yeah, I was dealing with perfectionism at the time, worthiness, and a lot of anxiety. And when I could see when and how that got set into place and why, it was a lot easier to release. It all comes back to accepting all those parts of ourselves that at some moment in time get disrupted. And I think that having the first session with her helped me have the safety to even identify things like that. Like, oh, hitting a lot of anxiety around perfectionism now, or, you know, grief around letting go. And so it makes the process of healing more direct later.
Well, thank you very much, Audrey.